Welcome, welcome all to Kitchen Conversations on Awakening Wednesday. Let us get ready for a beautiful evening, for a time spent together in change. Ooh, hey, yeah, yeah. I breathe and know the truth for me. I breathe and know the truth for you. We breathe and know the truth for all. We breathe and know the truth. I breathe and know the truth for me. I breathe and know the truth for you. We breathe and know the truth for all. We breathe and know the truth. Now it is in this breath that we breathe the Almighty Presence. We breathe into this divine moment right here and right now. Breathing in the delectable deliciousness of Mother Earth and breathing out the blessed holiness life. So as you center right now in this awareness and knowingness that in this very moment we are breathing the breath of God, we are aware of our divine connection that is taking place right here. And this breath is the breath of God that is going out over the entire world, over the entire globe of this universe. We are breathing the breath of God. We are breathing into this moment. So take the breath with me here. Feel the presence with you right now. Breathe in the beauty of spirit and allow the loving light to flow through you. I breathe and know the truth for me. I breathe and know the truth for you. We breathe and know the truth for all. We breathe and know the truth. I breathe and know the truth for me. I breathe and know the truth for you. We breathe and know the truth for all. We breathe and know the truth. Thank you, Linda. That was sweet. Oh, so yes, Kitchen Conversations today. We are embarking as we continue to expand in Kitchen Conversations and continue the journey of awakening and waking up. And so I'm excited to be here with you today. You get me today. You get me today. And I'm excited to share. There we go, done reading. Yay. And we haven't done our theme song in a long time. So this is the perfect time to do our theme song. We have a beautiful evening planned for you tonight. I have a little video that'll take place after this. And then we'll jump right in. And I want each and every one of you, whoever's out there right now on this Wednesday, send us a chat, because we'll have a little space to do some chat if you just want to voice your love and appreciation for Universal Spirit Center. If you have questions, I may have some answers. If you have comments, so please chat with us. Let us know you're there. Reach out, speak out, be out. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. One of us in chains. None of us are free. Well, you better listen, my sister and brother, 'cause if you do, you will hear the voices still calling across the years. And they're crying across the ocean, and they're crying across the land, and they will until we all understand that none of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. There are people in the dark, and they just won't see the light. If you don't say it's wrong, that says it's right. We've got to give to each other. Show our brothers and sisters that we care. Come on, send the message out loud and clear. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, none of us are free. None of us are free. Hey! Well, we look across the waters and we see we're closer than before. The world you once knew is no more. Oh, we gotta get our thoughts together and keep our hearts open wide. Send the message out to everyone inside. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. If one of us in chains, if it's one, don't matter where it is, it means none of us are free. Linda Ely, Linda L in the house. Thank you so much. And now, get ready for our video. We have an opportunity to change the world. We have an opportunity to change the world. But first, we must change. A greater understanding that life for one is life for all. Together, we can do this. No-knock warrants out. Mental illness should not be a crime. Transgender, you don't have to die. We can do more. These are our brothers and sisters. It's time. It's time. It's time. Say her name. Say her name. Remember their names. They have given the ultimate life so that we may live it better, so that we may live in harmony with all humanity, so that equality shall be. Say her name. Remember their names. The call is for each of us to rise up and create a new reality. Black Lives Matter.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for sharing that space and time with me. You know, this journey has been one that has really been an unfoldment for me in so many ways. There are so many things that I have lived and have experienced, and very much aware of how I have been treated as a citizen, or sometimes a non-citizen. But in taking this journey to look back at, not all the way back, but just looking back over maybe 4 or 5 years, I kind of got depressed at looking at the carnage of black men and women and children that have just been killed senselessly. And I know we are getting to the point where we've heard it, I get it, I know it, we're trying. But I thought tonight, we also want to recognize the connection that we have, that I have, that you have, with everyone. And that is that we're all human beings. That's a connection that goes beyond anything. A friend of mine shared this amazing story with me called Octopus, My Teacher. And it was such a beautiful film about a man who had lost hope, who was burnt out, who was not living the life that he wanted, and he suffered, his family suffered, all of life as it does. And so I found myself just realizing how the octopus, and I learned a lot about the octopus. I, I didn't know they only live a year. And so you got to know if you only got a year, that octopus got everything it could out of life. But looking at his journey and falling in love, and not romantically, but falling in love with this deep sea, with this octopus, with this spot of nature in South Africa. It was a kelp forest. Absolutely beautiful. It's on Netflix. If you get an opportunity, something definitely to take a look at. But it kept reminding me of each of us, that when we are so out of alignment with ourselves, we see the world from a very different advantage. We see it with eyes half mask. And we see it sometimes as a victim, as someone that is not getting their due, struggle, not working for us, and all of that just bound and wrapped up in fear. And so as I was going back and looking at some things, you know, some of it's a little funny, especially when, you know, The Daily Show and some of the other shows. I forgot about the white women that were calling, just senselessly, calling 911, or calling the cops on black people for whatever reason. And one of them, I had to go back, you know, we came up with names for them, which was hilarious all by itself. Wait a minute, where's her name? Now, the idea of it wasn't funny, but it was definitely funny when we found out that, well, we all knew that she was bonkers. I can't see. Oh, Corner Candace. And this was a woman in New York that was in a store. And the footage that you see is her outside calling 911, saying that a 9-year-old black boy sexually assaulted her by grabbing her butt. The kid's 9 years old. 9 years old. You know, I don't know about you, but I've had kids touch me and hit me. Kids do that. The fact that she specified that he was a black boy added salt to it. And so when they went and looked at the video footage in the store. You see the family, he's there with his family. He walks by her and his book pack hits her. His book pack. And it's like the entire store was like, you need to get a life. And a white woman came up to her and said, what is wrong with you, white woman? And she said, oh, don't talk to me like that, white woman. The footage is priceless. It's the bizarre, wacky-dacky fear that has driven us to this point. And the sad thing is that she thought she could get away with it. And if not for videotape, and if not for these wonderful things we call phones, she possibly could have and would have, because it's been done many times before. And our young men have been killed because a white woman said, he looked at me, he touched me. Never was there an apology to him or to his family. The other one I saw in the process of when it was happening, this white woman was outside of her building in New York, and she called 911 because a little black girl was out in front of the building selling water. She doesn't have a permit. I think they called her permit, what was it? I forgot what her nickname was. It was Permit Sally, something like that. And the mother starts videotaping her because she can clearly hear that, and she's screaming at the top of her lungs. She doesn't have a permit. This black girl is out here selling water and who knows what else. And it was just, it went viral. And of course, once their ignorance is seen, then of course it's the tears, it's, oh, I didn't mean it, that's not what I meant. But here, and the little girl is standing there during this entire time that she's just losing her mind that this young girl is out here selling water. And when they follow the story, they find out she's selling water to raise money to go to an amusement park, a trip that the rest of her class is going on. Her mom has been ill and not able to work as much, so her mom can't send her. The things that fear and ignorance will create for us to do. Unbelievable. And of course, we all know the woman in the park, Amy Cooper. Amy was extra special because Amy's intent was heard clearly. She told him ahead of time, I'm going to call and tell them that an African-American man is trying to assault me and my dog. She knew completely what she was doing. If not for him videotaping, this man could have been one that would have been on this screen on that video that I just showed. For no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that he was black and asking her to put her dog on a leash. They were in Central Park. I mean, there are many more. If you go on YouTube, there are many more, unfortunately. Unfortunately. They have one so ridiculous. It's in New York. There's a woman waiting for Uber. And this young girl is explaining that she's about 50 years old, and she doesn't know anything about an Uber. So why is she standing in front of her place? It's so ridiculous that we have to laugh at ourselves at how ridiculous we've gotten. So I thought I would start with that and then take the trip to visit or revisit, to check in with some of the cases that we know have been going on, some of the things that have been happening. And because for me also, I liked getting kind of a follow-up to find out. One of the things that I really discovered as I was looking up different things, the reasoning that we have allowed ourselves to be comfortable with. You know, I showed quite a few pictures about mental illness, and it is a travesty how many people, mental illness, homelessness, are killed because of the state that they're living in. Because the state of mind that they're living in. And, you know, our police officers, and of course, I know I can hear some of you saying, all police officers aren't bad. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that our police officers have turned into enforcers. They were initially to protect and serve, but they have turned into enforcers without having any consequence whatsoever for the most part. And so we want the good cops to be able to protect and serve. But we want the cops that are racist, that have hatred in their heart, we want them out. And we want to support the police department by giving them the tools that they'll need. Social services, to have a social worker, someone there, a psychologist that understands how to deal with mental health. Police officers aren't trained for that. When we hear the phrase defund, of course, the people that want to incite fear goes, oh, they're trying to take all the money away from the cops and we'll have no more policing. Absolutely not the truth. But it is time. We have grown up. It is time that we start to determine how the police will do with their monies, how the police will protect and serve. They are paying out enormous lawsuit. They're being sued civilly. They don't go to jail, but 10 million here, 5 million there, 12 million there. Breonna Taylor's family, you can't replace her, but they just won a lawsuit. I even hate to say won. They received $12 million. Well, if the civil, they'll pay you. Look, we'll pay you for this black life. They'd rather do that than make changes. I have to say, watching the chief in Minnesota was refreshing. He has been the first police person that has said silence is a crime. That to be silent is as much of a participant. I in no way or fashion want to bash the police. But like anything, things need changing. And it's time that we give them the support that they need so that they can protect and serve all. And those that have no intention of doing that whatsoever, let's get them out. There are quite a few of the ones that have been in the front line, they have not been angels. They've had a rap sheet, for lack of a better word, where they have been brutal and they've had complaints. But nobody's done anything. So I thought we'd take a little trip. I don't know how many of you knew Ahmaud Arbery. Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia, taking a jog. 2 white men come out of nowhere, jump out of a truck, beat him and shoot him dead. Now, some of the update on that, and one of the men that, Michaels is the last name, Travis Michael was the son, and I forgot his father's first name, but Michaels. Their explanation was that they had encountered a lot of break-ins in the neighborhood, and so they were protecting the neighborhood. Now, in a lot of these states, they have stand your ground, which I'll get into that later, which really makes no sense to have stand your ground and a no-knock warrant in the same state. It's just ridiculous because you have the right, if somebody comes busting in your house, to shoot. You're protecting your property. I digress. So there's a third man, and this was interesting because when I first saw it, I thought, oh, wow, how did this person catch this on video? They must have been right out there and they had their phone and they were ready. That's how naive I was. And I had to turn it off because it was the raw footage of them shooting him. You could hear the gunshot. And as I sat there, I thought, well, who was that person? Did they see him? Because they just killed a man. Well, turns out that he was a friend of theirs, along for the ride. And stupidity would have it that he put the video out on his Facebook page. I think it was Facebook page. And it went viral. So he as well, the three men have been indicted for murder. One of the other things about this that really digs at the heart is the amount of time that it takes. The amount of time that it takes. Sometimes it takes 3, 4 years, but with everyday people, it doesn't take that long. Sometimes even longer. It's like the wound can never heal because it just keeps getting opened when it appears to be a close-cut case. Now, I will say this. The grand jury, which is a very interesting process in our legal system, the grand jury works when everything is given above board. When things are held back, when they don't give vital information that should be shown to the grand jury, it does not work properly. It cannot. But these three men have been indicted. And so their lawyer found a picture, a video. I tell you, here's a secret. Know you're always being recorded by somebody, somewhere, something. So they show a video of Aubrey going into this house that's under construction. He looks around, jogs back out. And they're wanting to use that as a reason for killing this 26-year-old man. Saying that they were, this common phrase, self-defense, I feared for my life. Well, you accosted him. They show the son jumping out of the truck. Is this man not supposed to protect himself? But now the upside of that is that because of that, because of the gift of life that Aubrey has given us, they have now in Georgia created the hate crime law. It finally passed. They had been trying to get it passed for years. But after this, finally, those in charge said, yes, let's do this. Thank you, Aubrey. I thank you and I thank your family. And of course, there will be a lawsuit that will accompany this as well. One of the things that really it just really lets you know the love that we have to keep holding in our hearts so that we can love and be grounded in our spiritual presence and move in action. It's reported that Travis stood over Ahmaud's body after he shot him and used the N-word. And when they asked, why would you say that? He said it's common language in the South. Yeah, they will go to jail. I think they're in jail now, all three. And the friend who took the video has been very instrumental in coming forth. He's have diarrhea of the mouth now, so that his sentence is lessened. These angels that are standing up in a way that's making us uncomfortable because their life is being taken. They are a gift. I'm sure his family feeling some sense that they will get justice. But I know it's not enough. It can't replace Aubrey. But what could be possible if his mother and sister and his girlfriend could see one day equality? They would know that Ahmaud was a part of that. He was a part of the change that helped us get there. He was a part of that. Thank you. You know, I was looking at the no-knock law. That's an interesting beast. The no-knock law, let me see here, where are the notes? 13 states right now have this law, the no-knock law. And I don't know, maybe, let's see, there's so much information. It says the use of the no-knock warrants has increased substantially over time. By one estimate, there were 1,500 annually in the early 1980s, whereas in 2010, over 45,000. 45,000. And so the premise is that it is to help the war on drugs. But there have been so many mistakes, wrong addresses. There was a lady that I showed toward the end. Her name was Katherine Johnston, 92 years old. Oop. Good save. 92 years old in Detroit. They break in at about 1 o'clock in the morning and shoot her 5 times. It was 5 or 6 times. There was a case in, and a lot of the southern states have the no-knock warrants. In Louisville, Kentucky, they have their way of honoring Breonna Taylor, and her family fought for this law. It is Breonna's law. And there is anticipation that they will sign it and it will be passed to have no more no-knock warrants in Kentucky. In Detroit, they have a case of a 7-year-old, which I showed his mother and father looking at his picture. Stanley was asleep on the couch in his grandmother's living room, May 16th, 2010. When police officers entered, authorities said at the time the officers were executing a no-knock warrant for a murder suspect while a reality TV crew was filming them. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Wrong place. 7-year-old killed. The officers were suspended during the investigation, but suspended with pay, finding that they did nothing wrong. You're at the wrong house, but you've done nothing wrong. Laws, we need laws. I agree. You know, consciousness, and until, and I don't know if I'll be here to see that, until we can consciously learn to live at such a high vibration where we don't feel that we have to control one or another in order for us to live a divine life. There is a flow and a harmony that happens, that people understand that, okay, you know, if I go and try to rob a bank, there are consequences. If I become a drug pen, there are consequences. I remember, had to be about, I guess, 15 years ago. Could have been a little longer. I was living in the valley, and I was coming home from a gig, so it was about 2:30, almost a quarter to 3 in the morning. And there's a silence that time of morning that's really beautiful. And all of a sudden, there was a car and a police car. It was a chase. And they split around me. My whole car shook. They had to be going over 100 miles easily. And I've often said that police chases, they should not be. Too many innocent people get killed. I was fortunate that night that it was 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, because there weren't that many cars. And that I was in the middle lane so that it allowed both of them to go around. I heard the repercussion of the crash. You saw the flames go up. I didn't go look. I was scared. I was angry that no matter what this person had done, was it worth risking someone else's life? We have so much technology now. There are other ways that this can be done. These are the type of things that we've got to start taking the lid off. This old cowboy way of doing things, we have to change. More innocent people get hurt when cops are chasing. You know, in Southern California, there for a while, it was just like every other week, somebody was on TV. It's like, this is not the movies. There will be no secret door that they don't know to go in through. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Jacob Blake. Are you guys familiar with Jacob Blake? Jacob Blake was the young man in Kenosha that was shot 7 times. I saw a panel of their officials, the mayor, the chief, the captain from the army. And what really stunned me was that not one of them had to say anything, or did they say anything to Jacob and his family. They talked about the protesters. They talked about that they were good people in Minnesota, and that the military was here to help us through this traumatic time and that we would get through it. But Jacob was one of your people too. Now, as I did some investigating or looking up, there's a picture that they have of Jacob, and they say it's a knife. Honestly, it's hard to see what it is. But it's the pictures he's walking around the car. There's an object in his hand. You can see that there is an object in his hand. Once again, I'm a chicken. I never would have ever wanted to be a police officer. Nope, not my cup of tea. But there are other ways. This man, the video that I saw, so what I discovered was that it was domestic violence, that His ex called and said that there was some confrontation that was going on. However, she had nothing, not a scratch or anything on her, and the neighbors didn't say that any actual physical thing took place. And so you see that there's about 4 or 5 cops following him from her house. As you see the picture initially, the video that I initially saw was him coming around his car. And there are 2 or 3 cops there telling him to stop. And he does not stop. He does not stop. And then they show that there's something in his hand. They're saying that it was a knife that he had in his hand. And so as he goes to get in his car, his 3 sons are there, 8, 5, and 3 years old. They're sitting in the back seat. I think 1 bullet would have been sufficient, but the fact that the cop kept shooting, 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 shooting. They had tasers. I'm not saying cops not for them not to protect themselves. Absolutely. But this man wasn't attacking you. Now, he wasn't abiding the law because you asked him to stop, and he did not. Got it. Is that a death sentence? Are we saying, well, he had a knife, so the cops are right to kill him? To shoot a man 7 times. He didn't lunge towards the police. You didn't see him swinging the knife wildly. But even if he had, that's what tasers are for. Definitely 1 shot probably would have done it. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in his back with his kids in the car. Well, I think you know he's paralyzed from the waist down. I mean, his body is just a mess. He has a partial intestines, loss of his male body part, and a young man. The officer's on administrative leave. I thought to myself, well, Gino, he had a gun. I mean, no, he had a knife. And then when they showed the picture is so hazy, it's like, I don't know what that is. But at no time do I see him assert any type of gesture toward the police. He is ignoring them, yes. But does that give the police the right to shoot somebody 7 times? Why even go to the police academy? What are they teaching? The good people. There are good people. And they're everywhere. And the good people are just tired. Just tired. Tired of the senseless killing for no reason other than the fact that you can do it. You know, if you look at the history of the police, you will see that when slavery ended, they had millions of black people. What are we going to do with them? How are we going to control them? And so the police were really not for policing. It was another way of controlling black people and enslaving them yet again. And we see ourselves today with a police system where the blue is the almighty, and the humanity, the person. If you're white, a close second. If you're rich, you're first because of the power or the powerful people you may know. As we are engaging ourselves in waking up, sometimes the pain of waking up to what's there can be so painful that you decide, no. And I realize I've been asleep. There were things that I did not want to recognize. There were things that I did not want to acknowledge. But that does not shift us into a greater yet to be. That keeps the same old thing happening, the status quo. That we can no longer do. That is something that we must say no to. And there are so many different ways that you can participate. I mean, when you look at systemic racism, you will see that in our health department, in the health care, it's there. In our education, it's there. Low income families not having computers, Wi-Fi, that's a big issue. Because this is how we are communicating all over the world. And although the pandemic, we will rise through this. But no family should be without that. That is a necessity now, and has been for a while. In our real estate, in our investments, in neighborhoods where it's said, but not said, that we don't want your kind here. That's still happening. I remember, I tell you, I'm a huge sports fan, so this was about 4 years ago, maybe 5, when LeBron James came to the Lakers, which I was kind of sort of like, I know he's one of the best players in the world, but I had been a LeBron James hater, so I had to switch that thing around. And he moved to, it's right next door to Beverly Hills. Bel Air. He bought a home in Bel Air. And I don't know if you've ever been in Bel Air or through Bel Air. I had the beautiful pleasure when I used to sell real estate of selling real estate in Beverly Hills and Bel Air. And some of the estates are absolutely incredible, fantastic. It just feels like money when you drive in on the street. I'd say the squirrels love to go and hang there because it's so clean and beautiful, and they get to eat lovely caviar out of the garbage. You know, it's just fantastic, and maybe even have a little champagne with that on the side. It's just beautiful living. The birds sing to you when you drive on the streets like, come on in, come on in, come on in. Somebody wrote on the front of his house, they defaced his house and said, get out of here, nigga. Just like 4 or 5 years ago. In Bel Air. We've had so many telltale signs that the melting pot, the boiling pot, is about to explode. I remember this had to be years ago, and I thought, this is unbelievable. And this has happened to her one, two, I want to say 3 times. One of the most recognizable black women in the world, Oprah Winfrey, in New York City, goes to a very exclusive, a secret clothing store. And if I remember correctly, it's like by invitation, or you have to be told by a friend of a friend. You just can't walk in off the street. But the prices, for the most part, you don't want to walk in off the street. And so Oprah goes to this shop, and she's in there shopping. And the woman comes up to her and says, "You have to leave." Now, I don't know how Oprah was dressed, but still, it's Oprah Winfrey. And Oprah was at the top of her game. And Oprah actually said she laughed because she thought the woman was joking. And she said, "Oh, no, you have to leave." And she said, "Well, I'm not leaving." And the woman said, "You can't afford anything in here. You have to leave." To Oprah Winfrey. I mean, the one black woman, the one, out of all the others. She's on TV every day at that time, the Oprah show, the Oprah Winfrey show. I thought, wow. I don't think the woman ever gave Oprah an apology. Oprah did leave her store. And of course, she talked about it on her show. The other time she was in Switzerland, I believe it was. And she was buying her goddaughter a purse. And they were in this, I want to say it was like Fendi or one of the designer purses. The real ones, not, we had knockoff ones. I wasn't really all that into it, but I had some friends that were, so, they had some great knockoffs, according to them. But they were in the real deal store. And this beautiful woman comes up to Oprah and her goddaughter in a just beautiful tone and says, "Ladies, I'm glad that you're here, but I want you to know that we have surveillance cameras and our security guard is over there. So if you're thinking about doing anything, we're watching." Oprah Winfrey! Unbelievable. There's a conversation that black folk have when upper echelon black folk get in trouble. And it's the conversation that, I don't care how many zeros you got, they still see you as fill in the blank. And it goes on to say that you forget sometimes where you come from. You forget that this can happen to you. And when you hear something like that happens to Oprah Winfrey, it's mind-blowing. For me, it's really mind-blowing. This is somebody that is on TV all over the world. And so part of me starts to think, maybe you just wanted to do this. And so Oprah, instead of buying one bag, I think the story goes, she bought 10. And the woman's mouth fell. This sickness that is boiling up for us, as my beautiful friend Sarah shared a story about curing, that we cure bacon. It's boiling up for us not to cure it, but to release it. It's boiling up for us to see where each of us are playing a role in it and how we have passed this role on to our children, our families, our sisters, our brothers. We all know we have family members that have conversations sometimes that make our skin curl with ignorance, with sadness. A dear friend of mine shared that her sister was so homophobic, so homophobic. She said it's embarrassing. I said, this is where the love has to come in to help her understand that this is a person. This is a being. So, the no-knock warrants, I just want to add this, that I hope the other 13 states that have no-knock warrants realize that this is something that you can change, and you can change now. There are a couple that have made revisions that there could be an overseer, but as long as it still can participate, as long as you could still have a no-knock warrant, you still have the possibility of going to the wrong place. You still have the possibility of shooting people 15 times. And I'd love to see in the no-knock places how many drugs are off the street because of it. I'm going to guess not that many. I'm not saying don't do your job, but I am saying we got to find another way. And I do know that it's not just black people that sell drugs. Newsflash, it's not. White people, Hispanic people, Asian people, all kinds of people sell drugs. I've never heard of a no-knock warrant in Beverly Hills or in Bel Air. Oh, they have gone and arrested people, but it's in broad daylight. Not shooting up a whole family. They get arrested. We have a legal system. You get arrested, you go to jail. There is a young lady, let me look. I was blown away. Natasha McKinney, 37 years old, killed February 2015. She was in custody, in jail, handcuffed in Virginia. I showed her picture. She had a mental illness. They tasered her to death. Now, she's in jail. She's handcuffed. I don't know what kind of threat she could be. They tasered her to death. We, as a country, as a people, we have to protect those that have no protection. We have to love humanity in a way that we've never loved before. Natasha, that's my sister. That's your sister. When we see this as not somebody outside of us, but somebody that is us. That could be your sister, your mother, your sister-in-law, your daughter. No matter what type of rationale we put on this to help ourselves sleep better or to feel better about ourselves, it's time. It's time. I actually saw this one on YouTube. Rayshard Brooks. I don't know if you guys know about Mr. Brooks. And I saw the full-fledged video. Actually, I was on there looking for something else, and I want to say this popped up. So what you see is a car in Wendy's drive-thru that's stopped. Ooh, excuse me. And there is a person in the driver's seat. Now, you can't really tell at first, but as the cop gets closer, it looks like the person is a man, and it looks like he's asleep. So the cop is knocking on the window. It takes him a minute to pull it together to roll down the window. And he goes, "Oh, hey, man." And the cop says, "Do you know where you are?" And so he looks around and he goes, yeah. And he said, "Man, you fell asleep. You're in the drive-thru." And he starts laughing. He's like, "Oh, man, I'm just tired, man. I'm just tired." So the cop says, "Well, it smells like you've been drinking." "Oh, I had a beer. I just had a beer." So the cop asked him, "Pull your car over." And he seems a little incoherent. So the cop tells him again. And sometimes when cops have to tell you something a second time, the voice gets louder. The authority just comes in. "Pull it over," he says. The guy's like, "All right, man, all right. So he pulls his car over and parks in a parking stall. So the cop is talking to him. I'm thinking, now see, this is cool. If they're going to arrest him if he's been drinking and driving, nobody should be drinking and driving because that kills people. But he's talking to him and saying, how much did you have to drink? And the guy's trying to tell him his story. "No, I just came to get some burgers for me and my wife. She's at the hotel. We just came down here they were in Atlanta. I think they came from Memphis, drove to Atlanta to hang out for the weekend." So he's telling the story. So in the process, the cop calls a DUI cop. And so then you see the second cop arrive. And so when the second cop gets there, he asks him to get out of the car. And he's like, "Oh, man, look, my hotel, I'm just right around the corner." He's still talking the game. He's trying to work it out. So the second officer gets a little more authoritative. "Get out of the car now." So the guy gets out, and he doesn't take him through the sobriety test right away. He talks to him. So they're bantering back and forth. And then you see him start to take the guy through the sobriety test. And you can tell, oh, he's not passing, They're going to take him to jail. So as they go to put the handcuffs on him, he goes, "No, man, no." And he breaks loose and starts running. So they run after him and they tackle him. He grabs the taser gun from one of the cops and gets up and starts running. So he's running and he points the taser gun. And when he points the taser gun, the cops shoot him 3 times. Well, they shoot at him 3 times. He falls down. Now, this is in a Wendy's parking lot. People are, this is a Friday night. People are in line getting food. There are cars that are parked. One of the bullets goes into a bystander's car, nearly hitting him. When they come over to the man after they have shot him, the DUI cop kicks him in the gut and goes, "You," and he calls him obscene word. The other cop stands on his shoulders. They handcuff him. Before he gets to the hospital, he's dead. Now, there are a couple of things. He grabbed the taser. I hear you. He grabbed the taser gun, a taser gun. It's not even clear if he shot it, but he did grab the taser gun. He was running away from the police officers when they shot him in the back. They also shot in an open parking lot. You can't run him down? I just feel that it's so easy to take a life. Where does it stop? Where is the consideration? I'm not saying he was right, by no means. But did that cause him to lose his life because he was black? And I know some will say, no, 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 no. But hold on to that. They have it went viral because it happened almost kind of like simultaneously. Young white kid in some parts of Georgia, drunk as a skunk, gets into a fight with the cop. They going at it. He lived to make it to trial. There's so many. There's so many. I have no idea what fear goes through a police officer's mind. I don't. But I do understand that you have taken that job understanding the risk. I want you to get home to your family. Absolutely. You know, that brings me to George Floyd. One of the other officers, the Tao, the Asian officer, they show video. He had his body cam on. And I didn't know that the other 3 officers, Tao and the other 2, were considered rookie officers. His job was to control the crowd. Well, within that crowd, this woman comes and introduces herself and says, she worked for the fire department. She was a fireman. She said, you should check on him. So she starts filming them because she knew that what they were doing was not proper. The man that sat on George Floyd, he didn't sit, Derek Chauvin, that knelt on George's neck. They have an account that this woman is yelling. She's shouting out her credentials. You got to help him. And I get that when you have somebody that is your boss, or they're now saying, of course, these 3 guys are saying that Derek was training them. But where's your common sense? You know, my mother used to ask me all the time, Gino, if your friend go jump off the bridge, are you going to do it too? No, Mama. But that question is the question. That the other three cops did nothing. There's one cop supposedly that said to him, hey, do you think we should turn him over? Hey, do you think we should turn him over? Now, all four officers have been charged. Derek, the one that knelt on his neck, is charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter. His wife filed for divorce. He is in custody. He's in jail. The other three, I think, are out on bail. They said there was a moment that he, and this is, you have a picture of him, Derek, him, kneeling and looking out at the crowd like, I can do what I want to do. And this woman is yelling, I'm a firefighter. That he can't breathe. Nothing. The Minnesota Attorney General charged all four, and all four were fired. They're telling America, have patience. It's going to take a while, but we're going to fight hard to win this case. I hope. In the case of Breonna, I'm sure most of you know by now that no officers were charged. Now, what I didn't know, and what no one has had an answer, because here we have the no-knock warrant and stand your ground. Her boyfriend had a legal right to have a gun. And when you hear the 911 call, he doesn't say the cops are coming in the house. He says, there's somebody, I believe, that's at my door. And then when he calls her mother, he never states that it's the police. Somebody's here and they're shooting. What I've heard them consistently say is that he shot one shot and that shot hit an officer. They shot 36 bullets into that house. 36. 6 of them hit Breonna. They dropped the lawsuit against Kenneth Walker. At first, they tried to say that they were going to charge him for attempted murder. But there's so many different stories that have been going on around this. You just start to feel that there's something not right. I don't know if we'll ever get the real truth, but something in this, as in a lot of others, just stinks to high hell. So the Kentucky Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, said he never asked for murder charges. Officer Madeline and Cosgrove were justified in their use of force with over 36 bullets fired into the home. 1 bullet shot from the home. They have since taken the case to the FBI. And as I said earlier, the state of Kentucky has settled, awarded her family $12 million. My hope tonight or whenever you see this, is that we all start to realize that our connection, the connection of us with nature, with life, with the breath, is all connected. You see, nature shows us very clearly its understanding of its connectedness. Yet we are still in this false illusion that there is a separation between you and I. Yes, we think differently, we have different experiences, but we have a common denominator that cannot be shaken, and that is our humanity, our humanness. This breath that breathes through me is the same breath breathing in and through you. And one of the amazing things with COVID-19, it has shown us that all over the world this connection exists. We can't get away from it. It's who and what we all are. We are divine beings connected together. And part of us is hurting and dying because of our color, because of our mental stability, because we are transgender, and some people are afraid of that, because we are homeless, because we are poor. These excuses that we've used for so long. These cocktail conversations that we have, and as we laugh, oh, it's not happening to me and my family. Well, what do you know? It is. You see, we all are affected by this. We all are in this boiling pot of evolution. So I say to you, remember your connection. Remember that we are all connected. And that this journey that we are in the midst of right now, this journey, we will rise. Equality will be. Humanity, for all, it is a must. You have an opportunity coming up very shortly to vote. Voting is one way that your voice can be heard. If you are not registered or if you're not sure, take the time. It's important. Start reading some of the laws. Understand what your state is doing so that you can actively be aware of what's happening. Waking up, yes. Waking up is a must that each and every one of us must do. And waking up understanding that even in the chaos, there's beauty. That even in the midst of this, there is love. And the prayer warriors, the spiritual soldiers that have been anchored in the absolute truth, that are knowing the truth right now, as we take this journey to elevate our awareness and change our thinking. We can't get there with the old thinking. That's a road to a dead end. I give thanks for all of you, for all of our beautiful differences, for the humanity that shows up and creates and plays and scores and writes and politics. I know tonight it was the VP debate. I'm blessing and hoping that it was better than the presidential debate. But we're all a part of this. And so you are my brothers and sisters. And my commitment is to love, to keep my heart open, and to move in divine action. And this is one of my actions, kitchen conversations. And I'm blessed to work with some amazing lights, Dormini, Sarah, Linda, that every week, every Wednesday, they show up and show out, and we are anchored in this loving truth. So we're going to be here, and we're going to keep loving, and we're going to keep stepping, and we're going to keep putting the divine first and moving in divine right action. So I thank you for joining me tonight on Kitchen Conversations and taking this journey with me. It is our divine conscious giving time. I love that song. None of us are free.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We have some amazing things happening at Universal Spirit Center. The movie of the month, and we've changed the format a little bit. The movie of the month is I Am Not Your Negro, James Baldwin. And so you have the entire month to look at it. It's on Netflix. And then we will come together on the last Friday of the month at 6:30. We'll meet in the Zoom community room, and we will unpack it and talk about it. So you have all the time for the month of October to check out this movie, this documentary that was ahead of its time and is in time now. I Am Not Your Negro by James Baldwin. It's a Netflix film. And so the last Friday of the month, I think, is 28th or 30th, something like that. It's the last Friday of the month. We will come together at 6:30 and just talk about it in the Zoom from 6:30 to 10. And we have some chats. I love it. Also, so that you can know, now the chat says, thank you for continuing. Gino, we are all connected. Bam! Oh, that's from Pat. I love you, Pat. Thank you for watching and sharing. I appreciate you more. And she's one of the choir members, which the choir is now opening. And for our Christmas celebration, we are saying, come on, new members, come on down. How sweet and wonderful. Also, voting. Here at Universal Spirit Center, we're doing a few things. One, if you receive your ballot in the mail, it is our joy and pleasure to come and pick that ballot up and take it to the registrar's office in Cornea Mesa. And we will drop it off there. We will pick up daily and we will drop them off daily. And so that you know that this system works, I signed up for Where's My Ballot. It's such a beautiful and simple process, a 1, 2, 3 step. They sent me an email, said, Gino, your ballot is on its way. They will let you know where your ballot is in the process after it's been dropped off. And so one of the main reasons that we're doing this is because our post office has been affected. And we're not sure just how crucial it is, but to help alleviate some of the stress and tension, we're going to come by and pick up your ballot. We'll be safe. We'll wear our mask and gloves. We'll be 6 feet apart. Sign up on our universalspiritcenter.org webpage. Click on the button that says Racial Equality Project, and you'll see voter. You click on that, and a whole new world opens up. We're also looking for volunteers that want to participate. We have a few, but we could use a few more that want to come and pick up ballots and take them to the registrar's office. This is something that we can do together, an action that we can stand together and do. So know that your community, Universal Spirit Center, we are active, we are alert and aware. And if you have an idea that you think, hey, you know what, you guys should do that, please share. Also, if you don't have your Black Lives Matter, you don't have a t-shirt, a cap, a sticker, a tote bag, something, go to the webpage. Easy process. If you believe in it and you support it, help support. Show it. Wear it. Shine it so that it wakes other people up. I shared a story not too long ago that I didn't see it in Ojai. And I've shared that with some friends, and they've reported that they started looking. They bought product, and now they see it as well. So, thank you for joining us tonight on Kitchen Conversations. I will see you next week on Awakening Wednesday. And Stephanie Reed will be in the house talking about a shaman. So I am grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. Thank you for your divine support, your continued support of Universal Spirit Center. We are absolutely appreciating you. Peace and blessings. Be well. Stay connected.